Hello. Hello. We are here today. My name is Andreea Neagu, and she is my colleague. She teaches French at Coman. And here with us we have the 11th graders major in informatics from Alexandru Vlahuță National College, Râmnicu Sărat. Our lesson today, you remember we talked about the 8 key competencies for lifelong learning. You have them displayed. And we discussed their importance for you as students, but not only. You need them your whole life, as we have agreed. And today we decided to enlarge on learning to learn. Let's write it down. In this respect, you have done some assessment, you remember, these, yeah, okay, and if I were to draw a conclusion after reading your answers, that would be that, the questionnaire, that would be that in theory you are pretty aware of what you need to do in order to learn effectively. You know how to tackle this challenge of learning to learn. Let's see if in practice we succeed in, I don't know, outlining a plan for your learning. Suppose you have a test next week or an exam. It doesn't matter the subject. It might be geography, history, because you have a history test today, right?
Yes, we
okay. Languages, foreign languages, or informatics. I guess the process of learning is pretty much the same in all cases, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, from your answers, I noticed that you are pretty sure about this planning. All of you mentioned planning and commitment to a plan. So, if we were to outline this plan, let's think of the first step you might take before learning or studying something.
Well, first things first, we have to organize the material and connect new and old information.
Right, okay. What else might be this organization about? So, first of all, organize what you need to study. You said, organize the material. And how can you do that? You said connection between old information and new knowledge. Let's put it that way. What else? Somebody else? That.
I usually organize my material by putting the easy part of learning at the beginning, because I can warm up.
Okay,
And,
yeah, it's a good strategy.
The hard one I put after, I think, 30 minutes of learning. And when I run out of energy, I usually study the easy one again. That's my strategy.
Okay. So this also involves some time management?
Well, sure it does.
Okay.
Because we have a limited amount of time, and we have to be aware of that. And I think that at any material there are important parts and the less important parts. So usually before a test or an exam, I learn very, very well the important stuff. And the less important stuff I usually read 1 or 2 times. Usually.
Twice. Okay. Yeah. We have got your point. Anybody else? What else? If You organize your material. Do you use only the notes you have taken in the class, or do you tend to do some research or find other sources that you might use? Somebody else, you can do that. That.
I tend to do some research on the internet or asking the teacher if he or she can help me with the thing I want to learn.
Further information or...
Or I'm going to ask some friends.
Okay, yeah. You may use your classmates as a group study and do that together.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's say that we have, and first of all, I guess not that we have skipped that, but I guess you establish some goals or aims or targets, or what grade do I need or what grade do I want? Am I satisfied with a passing grade? Do I want more? Do I need to study harder? Yeah? So self-questioning about my needs or my objectives.
More of a self-evaluation of your current knowledge and what you can do better.
Okay, yeah. Let's think of another or the next steps to take. So we have organized the material, we have thought about the exam hypothetically. What to do next? Think of yourself. What you do. What you actually do. Ivan.
Usually after I make the connections and do my research, I start to rewrite everything, planned on what I want to learn and the goals I have. And by rewriting them, being a visual learner, I can, I don't know, it works for me really well.
Okay, you can memorize them by seeing them. Probably you might display them anywhere around yourself, I don't know, even on the walls of your room, because this way you can always have your eyes on them, and it helps indeed for a visual learner. Let's say create study sheets, as you said. You use your notes and the other materials and you organize this into some study sheets that you reread, rewrite. What else can you do with them? Yeah.
Besides the study sheets, I usually do some charts or diagrams because it helps me to understand the process, the material better, and I also have a photographic memory.
Okay.
So,
flashcards.
Yes, flashcards.
That might be diagrams if you, I don't know, have an informatics test, or I don't know. Then what else you have said?
The charts.
Charts. Economy, probably. Yeah. What else?
I personally use some sticky notes as well for the important stuff, for some ideas that would direct me to details.
See, flashcards might be those sticky notes you mentioned. Yeah. What else can you write on them? If you have, I don't know, that history test you have had today, don't, Ivan.
I want to talk about highlighting the important stuff.
Okay, but let's finish this idea with, probably I thought about names or dates that you simply take out of the text or notes and write, might be written down. Dates, names, formulas.
Events.
Events, okay. Names, events for history, if we thought about history or formulas, and so on. There are many others you can write down on these flashcards. And then, Ioana, you said that you...
I highlighted the important parts, the titles or maybe the chapters, so so I can easily go back to the
The
chapter
most-
I need to study again.
Or the most important information.
I usually underline the important stuff with the different colors. So
Yeah.
let's take an example. The dates I underline with the green color, the names with the red color, the events with the blue color, and then I can connect the colors with the actual stuff I need on the test. And it helps me a lot.
Yes, because you are a visual
Learn.
learner. Okay, as you mentioned. Anybody else? What else can you add? Yeah.
The most complicated parts of the lesson, I make a mini essay and underline, as my colleague said the most important parts.
Okay, so this is a sort of revision you do. So after doing all we have mentioned, there's some revision, or let's have revise the material here. What else do you have in mind to put down as a further step, or anything to add? Cosmo?
After I revise the material, I create a test with
Uh-huh.
a question I think that might be on future.
Okay, so this would be, in a way, an anticipation of your test questions or of your exam. Right. The last one, I guess. Anticipation of the questions or the test questions. Test. Okay, and also here you can also find, for example, if we think about English, and you know that you have a test on, I don't know, reported speech, probably you try to find some exercises that can help you practice, no? Or you do the test, or find a test online that can help you deal with the real test. Any other?
It can also help you to discuss the notions with your colleagues, with your friends, because this way you can better memorize them.
Yeah. So you can teach yourself the material you need to study to somebody else, and it might be your classmates, probably your parents if they are willing to listen to you, or siblings, I don't know. Mihai?
One important thing is to get a countermeasure for the stress. You learn what you have to learn, yet you might be stressed out when you are...
And this anticipation might help getting rid of stress.
Also, there are some coping mechanisms which will help you in stress moments, in tests, and in any other situation which might stress you a bit.
You know, once Albert Einstein said that you fully understood the thing only if you can explain it to other one. And I have to approve my colleague Theodora, and I fully support her that the best thing for me is to make a self-evaluation or teach someone else the thing I learned, and it helps me to give personal feedback before the teacher does.
Yeah, you're right. So this, from what I've heard, this would be the best strategy for you. Retelling, rewriting, revising, and teaching others and discussing about the topic or the matter. Yeah. Okay. So as a conclusion, or better said, instead of conclusion, if I were to ask you now, what do you mean by successful learning? Can you give me some answers to this question. Anybody else? If there's... Yeah.
I think one of the most important steps in learning is to identify which
Are your strengths? What can you do?
which method works for you the best.
Okay.
For example, I have a particular method instead of what was already said.
Okay.
I use my fingers to count how many times I read the sentence before memorizing. And if it is a harder sentence, I count. I read it more times.
More than 5?
Yes.
Oh, it must be difficult then. This works for...
This works for the subjects like history, geography.
when you have factual information, you need to memorize as it is and not, make some assumptions or... Yeah. Raul?
I think that organize the material and the time is a very helpful thing that you can do to be a successful learner.
Learner. Okay. Anybody else? How would you define a successful learner in some other words?
Also, I think that it's really important to be focused on the task at hand and to find the way those information may help you in your life.
Okay.
How to use them.
Da,
In real life.
it in real
How
life.
to use it
In real life. Okay, yeah, you are right. And Mihail?
I think a successful learner is the one that finds logic in any topic. If you think that something is unrational, illogical speaking, they will always find one way or another to connect the information that seems unrational or illogical with some knowledge that they know, that they already know, and this helps so much.
Yeah, learning in a context, not learning randomly or...
Well, as it is, it's better not to learn the topic, the sheets as they are. You have to learn the logic behind them.
Yeah, but as Miruna mentioned, probably there are some subjects when you need to do that. Of course, our goals or our way of seeing things might be different from one student to another. Yeah. Anybody else, Andrea?
I think that you're a successful learner if you are capable to remember in days, months, or years something that you learned in the past.
Okay, so thank you for your participation, and I guess that the self-assessment you did was useful for you to discover yourselves, and there are some hard competencies we might use in the future for your self-development, I don't know, for your self-becoming. They are very educative, and you might need them as well in your future careers. And I shall suggest that we might do that in the future classes, if you agree. Yeah?